Hello, 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 everybody. It is Friday. It is time to talk real estate again every week here at 3 o'clock on Friday, Arizona time. So, what I want to know first is where you're watching from. But what we're going to talk about today, because this is the question that I think every single real estate agent gets asked, is the housing market going to crash in 2025? Because prices are kind of all over the place. We're seeing a lot of price reductions. We're seeing a lot of cancellations, both from the buyer side and the seller's side. What is going on? And so we're gonna talk about all of that and what's going on with the market as well, because I would feel like I would be remiss if we didn't talk about this. We're going to talk about the jobs report that came out today and what is going on with interest rates. And to talk with me today, I'm bringing my friend Mike. Mike, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Just to remind everybody, Mike's been on my channel before. He has his own channel and he is out of California. Mike, remind us where you're located in California.
Yes, I am in Anaheim Hills, California, the city of Disneyland, Anaheim.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The city of take your kids to Disneyland for a lot of money. Holy cow.
It's expensive, very expensive now. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yep.
So again, let us know where you're watching from, so it helps us know if you're local, where you're from. And again, ask us questions as we're talking about this stuff. Well, that's what we're here for, to answer any questions that you might have. So I want to get into this first article because this one went over a lot, and I thought it was really, really good. And this is the housing market. When will prices drop? Because I feel like, I don't know about you, Mike, but that is the question that I keep getting. Like, when are the prices going to drop?
Yep. Yeah, I get asked that too. And they're dropping in some areas and they're going up in some areas. So it's kind of a lot of pockets that are dropping and a lot of pockets that are going up.
I agree.
Yeah.
So it says this summer's housing market has been anything but hot, and stakeholders aren't expecting much of a rebound in the coming months either, despite expanding housing supply and slowing home price growth, giving buyers more options and greater negotiating power. Buyers remain on the sidelines. Even with these improving conditions, signals they're holding out for some more clarity on the economy and their own financial situations. Meanwhile, mortgage rates staying stuck in the upper 6% range isn't helping to ease the affordability challenges buyers face, a strain that experts predict will persist for at least the remainder of 2025. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just stop right here just for a second, because I want to jump over the jobs report again, like we talked about, came out today, and I just want to show you all where the where mortgages went. So you can see we're at 6.29% today. The good thing was is that much. Okay. Yeah, the good news is that the 10-year treasury is down close to 4. That's what's affecting this 10-year treasury. But this is one thing we talked about last week, is that everybody again is expecting Jerome Powell to lower the Fed funds rate in September this month. Mm-hmm. And everyone is going to expect the mortgage interest rate to drop as well, which it is very likely not going to happen.
Right.
It's already baked into this number. So Chris Camp says layoffs are on the rise. Homeowners will be forced to list in 2026. It's an interesting take. I don't know that that's the case. The only reason I say that is because, and Mike, let me know what you think about this. Depending on when you bought, right? If you bought more than 3 years ago, you have a lot of equity in your house.
Right.
So if you can stay in your house, if that means that you've got to get a roommate or something like that to stay in your house, you're going to keep your house.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. In fact, you're right. You know, the people who bought prior to 2022 have a lot of equity, a lot more. Mm-hmm. But the people who bought after 2022 at the 6%, 6.5%, 7%, 23, 24, especially the first-time home buyers, I read a report a couple of days ago that the delinquencies in the FHA loans from homes bought after 2022 is anywhere from 1 million to 2 million right now in 2025. So it's on the rise.
Yeah.
And a lot has to do with the, of course, as you know, what has happened with the insurance and property taxes. That's what's forcing them to not be able to afford it. And also, a lot of them are getting unemployed.
Right.
Like
Right.
Chris says, layoffs are on the rise. She's absolutely right. It's on the rise. Microsoft, Google, Walmart, they're all laying off, and let's see what happens. But
I know it's interesting. I mean, because here, one of our big employers, and not one of the biggest, but a big employer is Intel. And there's been articles in the paper that Intel has laid off. I think they're on their second round of layoffs.
Okay.
But I've not heard, again, this is just me here in Arizona, I have not heard anybody say that because of that, people are losing their jobs, or I'm sorry, not losing their jobs, but losing their homes. And I feel like part of the reason is because we've got so much more high tech that jobs that have moved into the valley, that they've got options. They've got other places to go to find employment. So I'm not, yes, there's articles that Intel has been laying off people,
Right.
but I've not heard of, because of that, then they can't find other jobs.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, hopefully they can find something local, because people cannot move to find jobs. And then what's happening is, the other factor is that all these people who bought these homes in the last 3, 4, 5 years, their debt, whether it's credit cards or loans or student loans or medicals, is up to here, and they can shake it off. The new American dream is paying off their debt and renting, not buying a house. That's a new thing I'm hearing.
It's interesting. I
Yeah.
know. I mean, no one loves to have all that debt.
Right.
That's
There's
hard.
a lot of debt out there.
Makes
Credit
it hard on
cards
a family.
are on the rise right now. The debts are sky high.
Yeah. All right, let's get back into this article here. So they say the housing market forecast for 2025. It says U.S. home prices posted a 2.3% annual gain in May, the slowest annual percentage since the mid 2023, down from 2.7% growth released in April, according to the latest S&P CoreLogic home price index. Which I just have to say, and again, I talked about this I think last week. Be careful with that S&P, because it is really delayed. I know that in some areas that's what you kind of have to go on. Here in the Phoenix area, we have something that's even better. It's much more local, and it's just higher data, more accurate data, more timely data. And that Case-Shiller, we already know what's going on with Case-Shiller like 4 months ahead. So
right.
I always caution people, like, just be careful with that one. Anyways, okay. So which tracks single family home values, and it's calculated monthly using a three month moving average, 3 months behind. That's the part they're missing out.
Oh, behind. Okay. Yeah.
Behind. Yeah. Despite
right.
the deceleration in price growth, the index still hits another record high, underscoring how elevated home values remain. Still, the slowing pace of price increases, along ongoing rise in housing stock, would suggest that the landscape has begun shifting to a buyer's market. Now, I don't know about you in California, but here in Arizona, in the Phoenix market, we have been in a buyer's market since last November.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Overall. Now, every city is a little bit different, but overall, we've been in a buyer's market since last November.
Okay.
But this says, but would-be buyers aren't biting. Home sales remain anemic. Buyers are also backing out of sales contracts at record numbers. Redfin revealed in a 25 analysis that nearly 15% of home purchase agreements fell through in June. I can attest to that. I had a few buyers do the same thing. Right. The highest June reading since tracking began in 2017. The slowdown is now more than just a story of higher mortgage rates. It reflects the market recalibrating around tighter financial conditions, subdued transaction volumes, and increasingly local dynamics. In other words, the housing market is stuck in neutral, and it's unlikely to change in 2025. Our home sales activities is likely to remain slow in the second half of the year, and overall sales could end the year at or below last year's historically low levels. What are you guys seeing over there as far as sales? Are you guys seeing a lot of cancellations?
We are seeing cancellations. We are seeing, like, I'm in Anaheim Hills, and used to be 2 years ago, our days on market was 20 days, 25 days. Right now, it's around 90 days, right? So it's taking longer. But at the same time, like you said, it's local. Like, I wrote an offer in Fullerton for a condo with a 600 association fees, listed for 730. We had multiple offers at 750, and we lost it because the buyers who bought it also offered 750. 750. There were 3 buyers. And the
Wow.
other buyer got it because there was no inspection, no appraisal, no contingencies.
Oof.
So
Yeah.
on one hand, we have multiple offers. On the other hand, it's taking 3 months to sell a house. So, so the prices are not dropping, but they're not jumping either. Buyers
Right.
are very cautious. Open house, where we used to get 10, 15, 20 people at a time or groups at a time. Now we're averaging 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
So
I
we've
know.
seen a definite slowdown.
What we're seeing some here, at least for me, we're seeing that some of the houses have been remodeled, and then you go in and you do the inspection, and there's just too much stuff. And I mean, I had one buyer, he literally looked at me and he said, Sean, if this is how the remodel was done and this is the stuff we can see, what about the
Mhm.
stuff I can't?
Wow.
And
So
I
they just
I
start
don't,
doing the proper work or what then?
yeah, it's just, it gets sloppy on some of the stuff. And they do all the cosmetic stuff, and it looks really pretty and it looks really nice. And, they've got the nice cabinets and they're all soft close drawers and,
Right.
all that, the new flooring and the new countertops and all that. And it's all the stuff that everybody wants. The problem is that like the systems, like the air conditioning units weren't replaced. The roof wasn't replaced. The hot water heater was, so it's like all great. I've got all the cosmetic stuff that's done, but now I still have to replace all the big ticket items.
And I think, again, this is all based on reports and talking to other brokers nationwide. And I think part of the reasons this is happening is because sellers are cutting back also because not only in California, I'm sure in Arizona, your place too, it's expensive. The items are expensive. Labor is expensive. I have a rental in the desert. 2 weeks ago, it was a Sunday. My tenant calls me up and says, hey, the toilet's leaking. So I sent over a plumber and he gave me a quote of $500 to do the work. You know what needed to be done? Inside the toilet tank, that valve is there.
Yeah.
$525. Luckily, there was no service charge. So I said, no, I don't want it. Called another plumber. He did it for $175.
Yeah.
So things are expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's where sellers may be cutting back also because they can't afford it. People don't have money. They have equity, but they don't have cash.
Right.
So
Well, and the thing though that's hard is that those people, we can see that they bought this house and they're flipping it. And that's what we have some in the valley is that they bought it, they got a decent deal on it, and now they put money into it, but they're leaving out some of the big ticket items, and the buyers are like, I love the way the house looks, but this other stuff needs to be replaced as well.
I don't blame the buyers because the buyers are paying higher price. Yeah. The buyers are paying higher interest rate. So if you don't get what you want, they'll find something else because there's more inventory now. And that's why it's taking longer,
I agree. So Chris says high earners have a harder time finding job replacements. There's a lot of remote workers that came to Arizona since 2019. I don't disagree. There are a lot of remote workers that came to Arizona. I know people that were not a lot, some remote workers that have now had to move because their remote job has said, we need you back. Wow. But I don't disagree. But I do think that, again, some of the higher earning jobs, if those are lost, are they a little harder to find? Probably. But can you still find a job? I think you can, personally. Chris also says there's a lot of homes not getting the appraisal needed. Banks are not taking chances on risky deals, especially FHA with their inspections. I personally, I haven't had any issues with appraisals, knock on wood. I have not had any issues with appraisals. And I have a couple friends that are appraisers, and I've asked them if they are being told to downgrade their valuations based on a declining market, and none of them have told me that they're being instructed to do that. So to me, that's good news. Yeah, that's not happening. But again, looking at what the interest rates just went to today, I think that's going to spur some buyers to go, okay, let me see if I can get back in and buy something. It's still that push pull though that I'm seeing with buyers and sellers purely on price and where they feel the value is and where they feel the market is going. That's what I feel like buyers right now are trying to buy based on where they think the market is going to be in like 2 years. And that's hard. It's hard.
It's hard to predict. And we've been saying since 2019, prices are going to drop. It's 2026 almost, and they're not dropping. And overall, I don't see any signs of dropping prices nationwide. In fact, they say it's going to go up 1 to 2% on average nationwide. Of course, Florida is down, Texas is down, Nebraska is down, but other northeastern states, they're all going up. So overall, if you look at the average, it's going up, not dropping anytime soon until 2028. That's what I'm reading and getting from all these reports, and talking with brokers like yourself. Yes, there's a slowdown, but the prices are not just dropping yet.
Well, and I find that sellers are not. Again, I have a buyer that we were looking at a house, and we were being told that they're really motivated. My clients made an offer, and it was not a terrible offer, but it wasn't the list price, but the house hadn't been on the market for about 2 weeks. Seller wouldn't even respond.
Oh,
and the house is still on the market,
right?
And now it's been a month and a half. And it's
so the buyer left already. Now he's gone. They probably found something else.
Well, no, it's my buyer.
Okay, your buyer.
That's my buyer. No, we haven't found anything else, but they're like, I'm not going to do it. And it's interesting because the language that they use, and I get this, but in my opinion, it's the wrong market. The seller said, I don't want to negotiate against myself, so they're going to have to come up a little more. And it's like,
right,
you got to start somewhere. Like if you want to sell your house, you kind of got to do the dance.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong, is that a lot of people are saying, and these are experts saying, not the average, is that if the rates drop, like today it dropped to 6.29, hopefully stays that way. But once it get to 6% or lower, maybe 6%, all the buyer pool is going to come in, because now they can afford the home that they could not afford at 6.5. Once they come in, all he's going to do is raise the home prices, because multiple offers. So
I know. Well, and I think that's the fear for some buyers, but I think the buyers also are sitting there going, but is it the bottom? Is it the bottom? Are we at the bottom? I don't want to buy before I know it's at the bottom. And the problem with that is that we don't know we are at the bottom until we're 3 months out of it.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. You won't know until you pass it.
Yeah. So
you're going to miss it.
You're going to miss it. And then you're going to go, oh, why didn't I buy?
Yeah.
So it's the continuing theme that I always say here is that if you can buy, now is a great time to buy. Always. Doesn't matter the market, but you have to be able to buy. I am not a proponent of anybody stretching their budget and making themselves house poor. I don't believe in that. Right. I think you need to be able to afford it. But if you can afford it, buy. You can always refinance. I'm not telling you to date the rate, marry the house. I'm not saying that.
No.
You got to be able to afford it, and then you can refinance as it goes. Because then again, likely your income is going to go up. You refinance, bring your payment down, and then you have more, just more cash flow into your own pocket.
Right. The only caution that I would, if I was a buyer, or if somebody asked me, Mike, should I buy now or not? And let's say somebody asked me, and they have the money, they have the approval, they have the whatever. I'll tell them one thing. It's a right time to buy now. Doesn't matter on the price, doesn't matter interest rate, but you want a house. It's near your job, it's near your mom and dad or whatever. As long as you're going to stay there 6, 7, 8, 9 years, then buy, because it may go down and up. So if you're going to buy and move in 2 years, then I don't know,
Agreed.
Because what happens
you can't buy speculatively. And I know that people go, well, I'm not a speculator.
Long-term, then buy. Yeah.
Right. So Chris
or
says,
if you can rent it out, let's say you had to move and you're going to rent it out and then move to Texas or wherever.
Right.
That's a different thing. But yeah, long-term is the key.
Right. So Chris says homes have held on pricing because anyone with mortgage issues have had their past due tacked on the back of their loan with no interest for the last 4 years. That's all ending now. I don't know anybody that's doing that. Like as far as you're talking about forbearance, that's been long gone. I don't know anybody that's doing that. Do you, Mike?
Oh, let's see. Can you hear me? Yeah, no, that's long gone. I mean, that was during COVID, and they tacked it onto you. That's forbearance and things, and that's all long gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So they said the issue is the average household cannot afford the cost of the average home. High home prices also include insurance and taxes. Agreed. But again, I've said this before too. For those people that are looking to buy a house in a certain area, actually, I heard, oh God, who was it? Somebody said this. They said, if you really want to buy a house in a certain area, sometimes what has to change is the size of the home that you're buying. Because if you change the size of the home that you're buying, the price changes.
Right.
Usually. And so then you have to go, okay, well, I want to live here, but maybe if you really, really, really want to buy, you have to change that location and go out just a little bit farther, and then you can buy. But again, all these things have to be taken into consideration as far as where's your job, where, are you going to be driving more? What is that cost going to look like? So there's a lot of factors that have to go into it. But I'm still a believer that if you really want to buy a house, you can buy a house. Again, you have to make the money. You have to be able to qualify, all of that. But
I totally agree with you. That's the whole thing. When I bought my first house going way back, I wanted, young, 2 little kids or 1 kid at that time, wanted to buy a house. And when I talked to the lender, I was approved for, back then when I bought it, I was approved for $170,000 condo. And guess what? I bought a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. That's all I could afford. It was my first house. At the same time, I started a new business, not knowing anything about business. And I stayed there for 7 years, then sold it and bought a house. And I'm still here in this house.
Right.
So I sacrificed a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And I always dreamed of a 3 bedrooms, 2-bath yard. And, but I'm here today and I love my house.
Right. So, exactly. Yeah. Chris says that just ended. I actually think that ended like 2 years ago. Forbearance.
Yeah, the payment must have ended, but the system that started was for 1 or 2 years. And the payment were ended. Yeah. A couple of years ago.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while that forbearance has been gone.
Yeah. I mean, it's history now, Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of those things that everybody kept saying, when the forbearances end, then we're going to have all these foreclosures. And that did not happen.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when the market hit on 21, 22 at 2%, they should have refinanced and paid off. So they missed the boat. If they're still paying forbearance, something's not right. They were not up to the market. Right.
Agreed.
They were not advised. The lender didn't tell them. The realtor didn't tell them. They should have refinanced or done something by now.
Right. I agree with you. Sorry. I'm just going back to make sure that I read. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to come back here. So will the housing market crash in 2025? It says, with record high home prices still trending upward in many markets amid economic uncertainty, you may be concerned that we're in a bubble that's primed to pop, as it did in the 2008 financial crisis. However, the likelihood of a housing market crash, a rapid drop in unsustainable high home prices due to waning demand, remains low in 2025. Housing stock supply has risen substantially compared to last year, yet overall inventory is still well below pre-pandemic levels. The record low supply of houses on the market protects against a market crash. Experts are also quickly to point out that today's homeowners are on much more secure footing than those coming out of the 2008 financial crisis, with many having substantial home equity. What's more, a record number of homeowners today are mortgage-free. That is one of the other things, back to one of the things that Chris was saying. People forget there's a lot of people out there that own their home with no mortgage.
Yeah, a lot.
Yes,
a lot of them.
It's over 50%, I believe.
Yeah, it's very high. And then the rest of the 50%, 25% of that 50% have 2, 3, 4% interest rates.
This is where the locked-in effect comes in.
That's where the inventory shortage is, because I have 3%. I ain't going anywhere. I'm not going to pay 6%, especially when I have 3 more years to pay a mortgage. I'm not going anywhere.
Right. I know. We have at like 3% as well. And I was like, yeah. Our financial planner even said, he was like, never sell your house.
Exactly.
Never sell your house.
I may have, if I have to move, if the kids say, hey, Dad, we're going to Timbuktu, you got to come with us, I'll go with them, but I'll rent out this house.
Right.
I'm not going to sell it,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So this says, when will the housing market recover? At a minimum, for a housing recovery to occur, 2 primary conditions must improve. Housing inventory needs to increase. For the best possible outcome, we'd first need to see inventories of homes for sale turn considerably higher. This additional inventory, in turn, would ease the upward pressure on home prices, leveling them off, or perhaps helping them settle back somewhat from peak or near peak levels. Mortgage rates need to fall. Additionally, mortgage rates need to decline to see a meaningful increase in housing market activity. However, with the rates firmly stuck above 6.5% for 9 months, hopes are dwindling for much improvement over the remainder of the year. Well, that just changed today. Meanwhile, in a wildly expected move, the Federal Reserve left its benchmark interest rate unchanged at its July meeting. Many watchers anticipate a rate cut in September, which could indirectly influence a drop in mortgage rates ahead of this decision, much like what happened in the lead up to the September 2024 meeting when rates declined in anticipation of the rate Fed cut. Still, with so much economic uncertainty and political noise, the Fed's next move remains difficult to predict. So, what do most experts feel certain about? Whatever the Fed does, don't expect a steep drop in mortgage rates, but that's a good thing. Gumbinger, warns that rates cooling too quickly could create a surge in demand that would wipe away inventory gains, causing home prices to spike, we were just talking about. He adds that mortgage rates eventually returning to a more normal upper 4% to lower 5% range would be helpful to the housing market, but predicts it could be a while before we return to those rates. I agree with that 100%. I do not think that we are going to that we're gonna see 4 or 5. Here's the thing: do I think we could get to the high 5s? I do, but I don't think we're gonna see 4s for a little while.
I don't think so. Yeah, not the way the market is going. Homes are selling despite the home prices. Homes are selling.
Yeah.
And inventory, they say, the naysayers and the negative news people out there, negative bloggers out there are saying, oh my God, inventory is up 30-40%. Yes, they're absolutely right. The funny thing is homes are selling, but the inventory is high. It used to be here. We went down here. It's up to here, but we still have this much to catch up on.
Right.
Nobody talks about it. The other thing I want to mention is I was talking to a lender. He's a friend of mine. He's a lender broker. And when the interest rate, they had that FOMC meeting 2 weeks ago, and then stocks went up sky high. So what they were saying is all the lenders, all the bankers, all the institutions, what they do is when they know that the rates are going to go down, the federal rates, not the mortgage rates, the Federal Open Market Committee predicts that. The reason we're saying 6.29%, because of the anticipation, they already started dropping. So now on I think there's a meeting on September 16th or 17th for the Feds. You won't see the drop much because they've already dropped it.
Exactly.
So they work ahead of the time.
Exactly.
So
this is what I keep saying. I'm like, when the Fed meets in September, if they drop the Fed funds rate, don't expect the mortgage interest rate to drop as well.
Because they've already dropped. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think it'll go up just a little bit.
Yeah. You never know.
And then it'll probably settle back down.
Yeah. Yeah. 6.29 is pretty good. When we were 3 weeks ago, we were at 6.8, 6.7.
I agree.
So I don't think with the announcement of 6.29, or if they drop the federal mortgage rate, the federal rate, it may affect the mortgage rate, it may not. Regardless, I think because of the political pressure, and not getting political here, we all know Trump has been forcing Feds to drop the rate. You can't mess around artificially with the economics, the unemployment, the inflation. So when you try to poke it, you might have side effects, and we don't know what they're going to be.
Right.
So, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right. So Chris said he just looked it up. Trump ended the relief for FHA mortgages as of September 2025. That's different. So that's not forbearance. Forbearance was for everybody. That wasn't just for FHA. So that was something a little bit different. Keith says, interesting watching condo sellers hang on to the list price and being stubborn on price drops. Sellers need to realize that rates will need to drop over a point. And then a 6 plus month lag for price gain, I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would tell you that it's interesting to watch sellers, not even just condo sellers hang on to their list price and just hold on to that, and be told over and over and over again. And again, I've talked because I work with a lot of buyers, and I work with a lot of buyers that are moving here from someplace else.
Okay.
And it's frustrating to go in and look at these homes that have been on the market for 120, 200 days, something like that. And they've done a few price reductions. Maybe my buyer likes the house, and you make a good offer, look at the comparables, whatever, and you make a good offer, and the sellers they just dig their heels in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see what they bought it for. So it's not like they're having to take a loss.
Right. Here's what's happening. I read a report, and this was from realtor.com. research department. What they said that sellers are in denial. What the sellers are doing now, and I'm sure you noticed that in Phoenix, 40% nationwide, 40% of the homes are being delisted, which means they're canceling or expiring. And the reason is sellers are doing two things. One, they don't want to drop the price. And if they cannot sell at their price, they're not selling it. And they're either renting it out and taking their equity and buying other homes or just staying there.
Right. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing people take it off the market and they decide to stay. Because I feel like there's a lot of sellers that have been kind of like testing the market for that. And they're like, if someone was willing to pay me what I want, then I'll move.
Yeah.
If not, then I'm not moving. Yeah. And to me, I'm like, but then that doesn't really make you a seller.
Yeah, exactly. They're not motivated.
No, they're not really motivated.
Right. Maybe they'll wait a year, maybe they'll wait 2 years. But like I said, it's like me, 3%. If somebody offers me 100,000 more, I don't want it because I don't want to let go my 3%. I'd rather keep my 3% than take $100,000 and then pay somebody 7%.
But you're also not putting your house on the market to just test it and see what you can get for it.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Chris says
they will come back next year. Some of these people may come back next year. And
I think they will. I really do. I think that, yeah. Chris says there will always be people that really need to sell as well as really need to buy. That's where we are now. Once prices come down, there will be more transactions. Well, the thing, I don't disagree. Again, I don't, you're right that when more people want to sell and buy, we'll have more transactions. The problem right now is that I feel that some sellers are not being told the honest truth about a couple things. One, what their home value really is based on not just the comps, but the condition of their house.
Yep.
I really feel like there's a lot of sellers out there that are not getting great advice from their agents, because some of these agents, they really want to try to get a listing to, generate buyers, and there's a whole philosophy behind it that I'm not going to get into here.
Right.
But I just feel like some of these sellers are not being told the real story about what their home is worth in the market today, based on the comparables in the market and what your house looks like, what your finishes are, all that, because all that plays a factor, a big factor. Because when I have buyers that are walking through a house and they walk through one house that has been completely remodeled and it is priced at the very top of the market, and then we walk through another one that has a great floor plan and a great lot and all that thing, but there's still some work that needs to be done. And it's kind of like it's touching that kind of higher price of the price. They're going to buy the house that's redone and they'll overpay.
Yeah.
They will overpay for that house all day long, but they will not pay for it if they've got to do the work. They just won't. And I know sellers are like, no, but my house I've done everything. I just don't think that some listing agents are being honest with their sellers about, well, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell the honest truth that I have talked with sellers and I've honestly said, I'm like, if you do not have to sell right now, if that's the number you want and you do not have to sell right now, don't sell, because I cannot get it for you.
Yeah. Yes.
In this market, I can't do it.
Yeah. And buyers are very picky, and I don't blame them. If the buyers are paying you top price, if the buyers are paying high interest rate, if the buyers are going to pay higher insurance rates and higher property tax, I'm going to be picky.
Right.
If I'm going to buy a car and there's two cars at the same price, I'm going to buy the one that has the premium package.
Right.
Why should I buy a basic car if I can buy the same car with the premium package?
Exactly. So Grace says, I've heard typically your first offer is your best. Not always. Sure. Not always sure. Too bad your buyers, Sean, were not taken up on their offer. I'm going to be honest with you. I personally, Mike, you tell me what you think. I often think your first offer is your best offer. I
think so. Yeah.
I can tell you, honest to God, I had a client, this was years ago, and I was representing the seller. We had listed the price, or we'd listed the home, and there was a buyer that wanted to be in that neighborhood so bad. And this was a great house, but it did need some work. And he came in and he made an offer, and the sellers were like, nope, not taking it. And I looked at him and I said, are you sure? I mean, it's been on the market for like 2 days. And like, nope, it's too low. And I was like, okay. I came back 2 weeks later. He's like, I'm here again. Will he take it? And I went back to him and I said, are you sure you don't want to take, are you sure? Nope, I'm not taking it. 6 months goes by. He took like $300,000 less.
Oh my gosh.
Than that first offer.
That's a big drop.
It's huge. Huge.
Yeah. I have a fourplex that I listed, and I got an offer the first day. And guess what I did? I waited a day to send them the offer. And they say, we're not going to counter. And it's been a week. We just countered them today.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from the buyer, or the
Yeah.
buyer's agent. I don't think he's going to come back.
I have one right now. I made an offer on the house for my buyer. House had been on the market for like 2 weeks. They've already done price reduction. We made an offer. We were negotiating a little bit, and now we were at a standstill. My buyer was like, I'm not going any higher than that. I'm not going. I'm not doing it. And I knew he probably had a little bit more room, but not a lot. And so I told the agent, I said, he's not going to do it. So let me know if they change their mind. Like 4 days later, I got a text message from her yesterday. She said, the sellers have thought about it, and now they've come back, and will he go to this number? And I knew he would. And so I called and I said, I had a conversation with him, and I said, here's where they are. And he was like, huh, okay. And so now we're under contract. But I mean, this sometimes is what it takes with these sellers. And to the agents that I will say to you, put your ego out of it. Because I had another client, we made an offer, same thing. And this agent did nothing with this offer. It ended up selling to another buyer for $20,000 below my buyer's offer. She never reached out to me to say, hey, would your buyer come back? Never.
Wow.
Left 20 grand on the table for her seller.
There's bad agents out there. We deal with them all day long. Yeah.
I can't believe you did that. Anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
So Chris says every seller thinks their property is worth more than the market calls for, which bites them in the rear and it sits. I agree. I agree with you 100%. It does. They do. Grace says a great one. Great. The ones who are left are those who really want to sell, cleans the market. Yes. Here's the problem that we see with that. The ones that really want to sell, the homes often need a lot of work and they still want a lot of money for it. That's what I'm seeing, at least here. And the buyers are like, I like the house. I like the neighborhood. I can do the work to it, but I'm not going to pay that price.
Exactly.
I'm not going to pay the price. So Keith says the other trend that is in the real estate market in Scottsdale is getting saturated. Wait, the other trend is that the rental market in Scottsdale is getting saturated. You can see a big rent drop in Zillow prices this year, 100%. And that's what I was going to say when you were talking about rents earlier. Like people can't sell it. They're going to take off the market and they're going to rent it. I look at them, I'm like, you're probably not going to get what you want for it for rent. Because
I want to make one point to that. I don't know if it's true or not. I know it's true in other places. I know there's a lot of Airbnbs out there and a lot of them are vacant or not doing well. Are there a lot of Airbnbs, not just in Scottsdale, but in your general area, coming up on the market? And if they cannot sell, they're renting it out, and that's creating the lower rent. What's your take on that? I'm just trying to understand.
What's happening in our market with that is that we had all these people that bought these homes saying that they're going to be, these mom and pop Airbnb owners, and they're going to make all this money. And for a couple of years, they made money.
Right.
And then the vacancies came. And so then they shifted it from that I'm going to be an Airbnb owner and have the vacancies. Now I'm going to do midterm. And they all tried to go for those traveling nurses. They all wanted the traveling nurses to come in because then they got paid by the companies, right?
Right.
And then some of them got that. And then that kind of went away. And then it was, okay, I'm going to do midterm rentals and I can charge a little bit more because it's furnished and it's nice and all that. Some of them got, rented and some didn't because it was those people that can't find a house to buy yet.
Right.
So I'm going to rent for a little bit. And then they couldn't get those vacancies. Then they were turned into long-term rentals. So now trying to find a rental here, and I don't do a lot of rentals, but I keep my eye on it. So now finding a rental here that is unfurnished is hard. And some of the rentals that have been rented, they have to drop their price. They have to allow pets when they would never allow pets before if they want to get a renter in there. Right. And we're seeing more of those on the market. It's funny because when I'm out with buyers and I walk into a house and it's like it looks like it's kind of staged. I look around for a second. I'm like, this was an Airbnb. And they're I'm like, I can tell.
Yep.
I can tell.
They get the furniture and the decor and all that. So here's another question or the trend. I know in Phoenix and Scottsdale, there are a lot of investors out there. A lot of the Californians buy over there and they want a rate of return. So we know that the higher the price they buy, the higher the rent. But when you do the flip side, I'm trying to think out loud. If the rents go down overall, when they drop the price, because if I'm an investor and say, hey, at $300,000, I'm getting $2,000 a month rent, I'm not going to break even. At $1,600 a month rent, the house is worth $275. So do you think, and of course, this is, thinking ahead, the lower rents will cause the prices to drop more than The market itself, or no?
I don't think so. I think that then what I've seen happen is they're like, okay, I can't get this rented, so now I'm going to try to sell it. And so now I see that the house on the market for rent and for sale at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, whatever comes first is what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So there is, in certain areas, there is a downward pressure on homes, and the buyers are very cautious. They want the right price, the right condition. There's another report out that 44% of all the homes were sold gave some kind of concession.
Oh, we are 60%.
Right?
We're 60% here, and our average is about $10,000. Yep.
Which they never gave before. Hey, you want a appraisal? No. A termite? No. Repair? No. Now they give, okay, I'll give you 10,000. I'll give you 15,000.
Yep. I'll give you 10 grand. I'll give you $10,000 seller concession so you can buy the rate down. Yeah. Exactly. Whatever it looks like. Yes.
So 60% in your area. That's a big chunk.
of the homes, huge. And it's 10 grand. About 95. It fluctuates between about $9,500 and $10,000.
What's the average home value there?
So home values are lower. It's usually homes under about 600,000.
Okay, that's still a good price though. 600 is still a good price.
Yeah, yeah.
And 10,000 is a big chunk. I mean,
huge. I agree.
For the buyer, that's a lot of money up front, right? I mean, that's taking away from the down payment.
Agreed. Yeah. So Keith says a lot of rental owners are also tapping out and listing. You can see it in MLS and Zillow history. Tells a great story. Totally. What we just talked about. I agree with you, Keith, 100%. So Grace says, problem with renting the house when you want to sell and you are not a trained landlord, you never know what will happen to your house. So be careful with your house. It won't be sellable when you're ready. I have this conversation with sellers when they're like, I'm just going to rent it out. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's talk about that. Especially if they've lived in that house as their primary residence. And I know that there's an emotional attachment to it. I'm like, I wouldn't do it. You are going to walk back in this house and you are going to be so mad.
Right. Yep.
So I don't care if they really didn't do anything to it. You're going to see a scratch in something that you loved that you never would have allowed to be, and you are going to be so mad.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Yep. It's going to be a different house when you come back.
Completely. Yeah. Keith says, story when I decided to sell my home at the end of 2021, when my pool guy said he was picking up his second Airbnb home. I think we were talking about Airbnbs, and then he's the individual Airbnb owner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chris says, I can't understand sellers that have a low rate and the home can't sell for the crazy dollar when they want and decide to become first-time landlords. Just sell it and put the money in a CD. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The bigger the house, the more damage the renter can do.
Right.
And usually the more expensive the damage is.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
probably the more people there are, so there's more damage. They probably have kids or family, like 7-8 people instead of 1 or 2 people.
Well, and again, I mean, and I'm not saying, I mean, if I had a rental, I would allow pets in my rental, but I know sometimes people get really weird about having pets in the house, and they're like, oh my gosh, now I've got to have the vents all cleaned and the whole thing. But again, I look at it, I'm like, as long as they're a responsible pet owner, then you usually should be okay. But I mean, I know people that have rented their house out, and I do this too. I always tell people, if they're going to rent their house out, like, pay for your own pool person or pay for your own landscaper, because then you have another set of eyes that goes to your property that you can call and say, hey, how does it look? How's everything looking? And I did that, and I told them that, and they would check in with their pool people, and they were like, oh man, you got red Solo cups all over your backyard in your pool every time I come.
Yeah.
Every time I come. And that's a
good tip. That's a very good tip.
They were renting to somebody that made a lot of money. That did not need to be having red Solo cups all over the backyard.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing. I want to jump over just because the jobs report did come out today. So I want to jump over to this article. And this is written by Logan Motoshami. I don't know if anybody has heard of him. He's a really good analyst. He's on all the news shows when they talk about the housing market. But it says, shocking jobs report sends mortgage rates falling to new yearly lows. Fed missed the mark. It's labor over inflation. So he says the Federal, and I won't read this whole thing, but there's a part of this I read that I thought was good. So it says the Federal Reserve has been saying for months that the labor market is solid, claiming there is no issue and attributing the softness to the data to population growth. However, many of us were skeptical of that explanation. And today's job report is bringing home the reality that the Fed was too late in reacting to changing conditions. with the 10-year yield down towards 4.8% or 4.08%. Expect mortgage rates to hit new yearly lows today because the Fed was wrong about the labor market. It wasn't about population growth. The latest jobs report was yet another disappointing outcome for the Fed, and one of the negative revisions revealed a decline in the labor market in one of the reports. What does that tell us? It tells us that the Fed is old and slow. The premises since 2022 has been that the Fed will remain as restrictive as possible until the labor market shows significant weakness. At every Federal Reserve meeting, they have stated that they are modestly restrictive. After today's job report, they now have a chance to reconsider their stance. Hopefully, this will serve as a wake-up call for them. While jobless claims have risen and the unemployment rate is skyrocketing, we have faced labor issues for some time. That were purposely disregarded. Changes are needed.
Mm-hmm.
So details from the report. Total non-farm payroll unemployment changed little in August, positive 22,000, and has shown little change since April. The U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported today. The unemployment rate at 4.3% also didn't change much in August. A job gain in healthcare was particularly offset by losses in federal government and in mining, quarrying, and oil and gas extraction. Here's the chart, and this is all seasonally adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was an interesting take on that from him, because he's followed it for a long time, and he's the one that has kept saying that the 10-year treasury has to come down for the mortgage rates to come down. That's what has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, hi, Matt. First time in 54 months that we have a negative number. June 2025, we are negative 14,000 jobs.
Wow, in 54 months. Wow, that's huge.
I know. So Keith Jacobs, AI is eliminating jobs faster than people realize. Those job reports, unfortunately, will get worse. I do think that AI is going to impact it. I do.
Yeah, it has already impacted. I have a lot of people who are in the tech industry, and their nephews and their kids. Guess what they're doing? Those who are computer science, IT, all those who got degrees in bachelor's, they're all Uber Eats drivers. They can't find jobs.
I know.
At least in the California side, it's tough to find jobs in that industry right now, and AI has affected. But from what I'm hearing, I'm not an expert in this field, but I have a lot of tech friends, and they all say that AI is going to hit big.
I think AI is going to hit the tech world big. I mean, there's some jobs that AI just can't. I mean, can they help accentuate things and take some jobs away? Sure, but they can't take everything away.
They're taking a lot of jobs away, though. But what's happening is the Microsoft and the Google and the Apples, in anticipation of job cuts, they're already laying off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like NAR. I'll give you an example of what NAR is doing, at National Association of Realtors, and this is kind of negative. They're already laying off their staff because they expect, and I know, and a lot of people know, that the number of realtors have been diminishing. By the end of 2026, they're predicting that the 250,000 realtors will be gone. So NAR has already been cutting staff in anticipation of drop in income. And same thing is happening with these tech companies and big companies, where the AI jobs are being taken away. They're already cutting staff. They're already cutting their buildings and expenses and all that. So
here's my question, though, about NAR. Are they cutting jobs because they think that we're not going to have that many realtors in the business by 2026 because AI is going to take over? Because I don't see AI taking over.
Nothing to do with AI. I was just giving you a relevance.
Yeah.
They're just quitting because it's a tough market, right? I mean,
well, that's what I was just going to say. When it's a tough market, agents leave the business.
Well, here's the stat. In 2023 or 2022, 6 million homes sold. 2024 is about 5.5 million homes sold. 2024, we were down to 4.2. This year, as you read the report, it may be 4.2 or lower. So if there are 2 million homes less sold, that's 4 million transactions, right? 2 on each side.
Right.
A lot of realtors are eating bread and butter.
Right.
They're not making money.
No, I know it.
And more are going to quit.
Right.
And also I heard that a lot of people who are not getting jobs, who don't want Uber Eats driving, are coming in the real estate. That happens. It happened in 2008.
I
all
know.
the people who got unemployed.
Every time the market gets really, really good, you get all these people that come into real estate because they think it's easy.
Right.
And then they get in and they go, this isn't what I thought it was.
Exactly. And when they can't find jobs, they're going to come to real estate.
Right.
And they'll find out. But what happens is they'll take your 1 or 2 deals. They'll take my 1 or 2 deals. So they affect us.
Yeah.
So it's a rough cycle.
So Matt says quarterly household survey shows that we lost 357,000 full-time jobs and gained 597,000 part-time jobs. Mike's point is super accurate. Yeah. Yeah, they're up because they're going to part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Part-time jobs, nannies are expensive. So a lot of them are double income people. They're quitting because over here, it's like nannies are like, daycare is $1,500 a month.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to tell me I have 2 little kids.
Yeah. And if they find a good nanny or it's because some of them are shady. You have to be careful.
I know. I've had nannies.
It is tough out there. So moms or dads, one of them have to quit.
Yeah. So Keith says college students should study up on how to start a business side hustle. Go to work in core service businesses, figure out how to buy many retiring boomers. I agree with this. I have a cousin who graduated from ASU here, and he's great. I mean, he went to school, did a great job, got his degree. He's off. He has his job. But his brother decided to go to a tech school instead. And he's studying to become an electrician. And I'm like, super smart.
Yeah. Electrician.
AI cannot do an electrician's job.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, all that's going to come back because that's hands-on and things that AI cannot do. I mean, they can help in there.
I mean, there's robotics in some of that. I mean, my husband's in
but not as much as like I know a lot of people who do coding.
Yeah.
AI can do a lot of coding. So all those software and coding people are gone.
Right.
Are going to be gone pretty soon.
Right. I just hope that maybe some of these schools start learning that they need to teach these kids how to be entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying that every kid needs to be an entrepreneur because it is not for everybody, but it's something that should be taught. Snug Life. Read AI. Investment in data centers instead of software development does not mean the AI is taking the job away. It means the money is going to a different place, construction workers, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's one of the things that we have here now. We've got a lot of data centers. I mean, and a lot of, sorry, my phone's ringing. A lot of semiconductors. I mean, it's big. It's big.
Those data centers are huge, right? I mean, they take acres and acres.
Yeah, huge. And they're down like in the southeast part, way down southeast. Yeah. So it's a complicated topic, but tech CEO propaganda for their stocks isn't a great predictor either. Who knows? That's the kind of stuff that I come like, that's above my pay grade. I kind of stay out of it.
When it comes to stocks and things, it's we can't talk about it. We're not financial analysts, and who knows what's going to happen. There's so much manipulation out there.
Totally. I know it. I shouldn't say this, but politics is playing a lot of their manipulation also. So we'll just stay out of it, So I have to. I have to because it's just you don't win.
Nope.
And I stay in my lane. I talk about real estate.
That's right. Stick to one thing.
I know. Well, this is what I know what I was going to do. And I meant to say this at the beginning. So I posted a poll on my channel earlier today I wanted to see what this was. So I'm going to switch over here. I asked the question, do you think the housing market will crash in 2025? Be honest. So here are the votes. Yes, a big crash is coming, 13%. No, just a correction, 38%. I have no clue. That's why I'm watching, 50%. Why, thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
It says, I believe a crash is coming, but not this year. Maybe 2026, probably 2027. Interest rates will have no effect. Housing prices are too high. More and more people will be unable to qualify for a mortgage. It's no longer 2022. Sellers need to get that message. I think that if there's a crash, it'll be 2026, 2027. So both of them are saying that. I can't say. Personally, I don't think that we're headed for a crash. I don't. I think we're headed for a correction. I think that right now we're going to continue kind of doing this whole struggle with where the prices should be. But I don't see a crash. And I still think that there's some deals out there that can be had. But I also think that there's, like I said earlier, I think that there's some people that are very willing to pay over maybe a little over the value for a home that has been completely redone the way that people want it done right now.
Well, one thing we have to look at, and talking in general, everybody asks when the crash is, when does a crash happen? It's supply and demand. Right now, there's not enough homes, so buyers are buying. Despite the 6.5, 6.2, 6.75, despite the higher home prices and higher property tax and insurance. When will they stop buying? Well, once they lose their jobs, they're not going to buy. So what happens is, if that happens, if the rates go too high, they cannot afford homes, the inventory will go from here to here to here to here. So unless the inventory comes up here and there's a lot of them on the market, that's when a crash is going to happen. How long will it take the inventory to go up that much? We were here in 2008. We're down here right now. So until we get up to the mid-range, we don't know when the crash is coming.
Well, so here I can give you numbers here, right? So in the Phoenix area, during the crash, and we got hit hard.
Okay.
Really hard. Phoenix, we had about 56,000 homes for sale. During COVID, when the inventory was really low, we had about 4,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we have about 23,000. So we're still about 30,000 off.
You're talking about 2008 figures.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big, you're halfway.
We're halfway, but still what we're seeing is the price. Again, we're seeing a lot of price reductions, but homes are still selling. And we've seen our inventory decline. We are not seeing as many homes come on the market, although this last week it shifted. I will say that. This last week it shifted. And so it's kind of nice. We're out of the after Labor Day, and we're right on that. Well, we're not right on the cusp yet. We still have all of September and a lot of October before our weather changes. That's when we start seeing it again. So
your activity will improve in fall because it's much better weather?
Yeah, because it starts to get cold everywhere else and starts to snow. And then everybody comes here for the great weather.
What about the Canadians? I heard that Canadians are not coming to Phoenix and Florida. So, how big? I don't know if I should throw this in, but
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I heard they're not going to Florida anymore. They're not coming to Texas anymore. They're not coming to Arizona, and they're actually selling their homes and giving a finger to US.
What I have seen, or what I have heard, is that some of the Canadians that are on the west side of our town, west side of Phoenix, those people have sold. But I know some of the Canadians that are from the oil areas like Alberta and the really where they have the oil money. Right. They're still coming here, and they're coming into Scottsdale. They're still buying cash. They're still buying for like $3, $4, $5 million cash.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah, and they're still coming.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He says real estate is always a great hedge, though. Buy in great areas. Many positives for our state. I agree 100%. Back to what Mike said when we first started this. If you're going to buy in a great area, add that in, and then make sure you're holding for at least 7 years.
Holding, yep.
You got to hold it for at least 7 years, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, so even if it goes down and if you hold it, it's going to come back up and catch up.
Right.
In the meantime, you're paying your mortgage, you're getting tax write-offs, you're getting depreciation.
Right.
If you're buying it as an investment, blah, blah, blah. So yeah,
right.
You can't go wrong with real estate. You cannot go wrong.
No.
In the long term.
Right.
Stocks, you could go wrong. You could buy NVIDIA. A lot of people are buying NVIDIA and Tesla. It could crash and never come back up. But with real estate, it could crash, but it's 100% guaranteed will come up.
Right. Eventually. It's just a lot. I mean, again, I think back to the first house that we bought here in Scottsdale and the price that we paid, what it got to in 2008. And we thought, this is a bananas price. Like, this is so crazy. Who would pay this? And then 2008 happened and the market went down and it went back down to almost what we bought it for. And we just stayed. And we waited all that time, waited another, 7 or so years. And all that value had been built back up. And when we sold our house, we made about what it would have sold for in 2008. And now it's even higher.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me. I bought my house in 96, been here a long time. Then it went up, up, up. And in 2005, 6, 7, 8, it went down.
Yeah.
It went way down. I thought of selling it because I had 2 kids in college. I had 4 cars, couldn't buy food. I mean, it was a trouble. I almost sold it. Luckily, I worked hard and was able to pay my bills, stayed here. And now it's 4 times the value of what I paid.
Yeah.
So luckily I stayed. And that's, again, real estate is long-term. You cannot go wrong in real estate.
Yeah. But I know when people watch this and then they'll rewatch it, and then I'll get that typical realtor. You just want say what you want. I that's not everybody that knows me and that comes. They know that that's not me, but that I know I'll hear it. Typical realtor. So I'll say
those are the realtors that won't be here next year. They'll be gone.
Right.
That's part of the 250,000 realtors that are going to be gone. That's those guys. So don't
exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, Mike, thank you very much for joining me today. Thanks everybody for all the great questions today. I liked it a lot. Thank you. It's always so fun to like actually have conversations with you guys. So that was great. We'll be back Friday. I'll be back on next Friday. Mike, have a great weekend.
Thank you for inviting. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Of course. Thank you.
Yep.